And then John sent out an email saying, here's these things you can watch, and if you've already sent one in, you can try again. The first one I sent in really sucked.
Oh, and you sent in the second one?
But I have no idea why you all picked me, but I mean, I'm glad. I mean, thank you. I know you're part of the crew.
Yeah, I'm not part of casting.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
But I can, I can clearly tell why we picked you.
Why is that?
You're great.
Well, I'm so sorry that I got voted out so early then.
You have a whole fan club
Oh,
of people on the volunteer team.
really?
We are so sad to see you out. We've been rooting you on.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it just wasn't going to happen with my tribe, I'm afraid.
Yeah, tell me what happened. What's the breakdown?
Well, first of all, I mean, the first four we were with, that was a really tight experience. And we knew we weren't going to be together, but that was really cool and bonding. And of course, we didn't have the stress of it, but nothing really ever came together for me with the tribe. Well, for one thing, we had 4 women, including some who have publicly stated they want a woman to win, which I think is fine. I reminded them today as I was pleading my case that just because a woman gets voted out today doesn't mean the woman won't win the game.
Who has publicly stated they want a woman to win?
Beth, my tribes particularly, yeah. And I think that's okay, I think that's all right, except, I could say, well, I think I should win because this is my last chance, but I don't play the age card because for one thing, I don't know how old I am, so. But, so we had 2 guys and 4 women, and 2 of the women, Beth and Melissa, really bonded over being young moms. And so then we had the other folks, and MT, the other guy, was more of an asset to the tribe than I was, in a lot of ways. So, I knew it. I knew it. I mean, my tribe's terrible actors. I tried my best to talk them into breaking up the moms and doing this stuff. And, it's like, I mean, I could see it in their eyes, I knew,
I mean, you're a judge. I mean, you've seen people lying all the time.
Absolutely. See people lie all the time. And, and I started to call them out and say, this is BS, guys. But I didn't because, I wasn't going to alienate them if there was any chance. So anyway, yeah.
So you came into tribal knowing that you were the vote or potentially the vote?
Well, I pretty much knew it was me, I mean, I certainly try to take the attitude that the game's not over till it's over, and you never know. And I've seen enough seasons of Survivor and Survival Challenge to know that sometimes the vote's a surprise. But I sure wish I'd found an immunity idol because I sure would have used it today. And I tried and tried, but didn't find anything.
So when John asked for idols, you said, John, I don't have one, and it's important for you to know that.
Yes.
What did that mean? What was that about?
It was just something to be funny because I thought this is my last chance to say something, and that it was my way of saying what I hadn't said when he was doing the interview, that, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's me. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. So I'm glad to hear, you had an awareness, but you were like fighting for it.
Absolutely.
So you wrote Melissa's name down.
Right.
Is that who you were like? You were trying to break up Melissa?
Yeah, Melissa and Beth, and I picked Melissa, and it was just an unfortunate thing. Melissa and I, we won we were second place in our first 2 immunity challenges yesterday, and our 3rd immunity challenge was that puzzle thing in the lake with the and Melissa and I were the I don't know if puzzle solver. I don't know what you call us. What we did, and we just couldn't get it together. And neither one of us, I think, truly blamed each other. But I think at that point, Melissa had it in for me. And Melissa's a strategic player. She's a great player. I hope she goes far in the game. Obviously it was nothing personal, and I don't take anything personal here. I know there were people that probably wouldn't have voted for me, but that was the handwriting on the wall, and that's okay. Yeah.
So if Blue were to go to tribal again, who do you think might be on the outs in the next vote? Do you think it's the lone male standing? Do you think they're going to go for Melissa, who you already have her name out there?
Maybe. I mean, well, MT's name was mentioned to me when we were having some private discussions, but I think that was only mentioned, it was Beth who mentioned it. It was only in the context, again, of wanting a woman to win. And, so there was, if that's the case, and one of the ways you're going to further that is by keeping all the women on the tribe, then it was me or MT. And but I do think that MT brings a lot of value to the tribe, and so I would expect the next vote off would be a woman, and I would expect it would be Melissa or Beth. I mean, they're both valuable, they're both great. Heather just has one of those draw you in personalities, and is very concerned about people and expresses that a lot. Taylor is just a breath of fresh air. I mean, she's great and a real asset. So I would say Melissa would be the weakest link, but I say that with great respect because I think she is very strategic and smart, and she's a lover of the game. And but breaking up that twosome and Melissa or Beth, I would lean to Melissa just because that's where I leaned.
You sent 2 videos in.
Yeah.
You got the second video in. You've been preparing for this.
Yeah.
You are clearly so excited to play. You've been doing your homework.
Yeah.
What has this experience been for you?
It's been great. It's been wonderful. They, at confessional last night, they asked me if it had been like better, worse, whatever, harder, easier. So like all of the above, because it's easy to be around so many other people who are lovers of Survivor and Survival Challenge, to be around, it's funny, Melissa particularly said she'd never camped before, and I've heard people on Survivor say that, and I've also heard other people say, well, why would they even do that? And I thought, it's so much more. It's so much more than just sleeping on the ground and roughing it, It's easy to understand why people who might not necessarily be outdoor people want to do this. I haven't missed a season of Survivor. I'm old enough to have been watching it as an adult, since it came on the air. And I was fortunate to have a tryout for Survivor once, and also one for Amazing Race, which would be my real preference. Producers, if you're watching this, Amazing Race, I've got all sorts of people I could do it with. But yeah, I mean, harder than I thought it would be. Not really, but I mean, obviously I hadn't lived it before. So, it's not pleasant to sleep on the ground, and, it's not pleasant to be cold at night and that sort of thing. But it wasn't anything that I didn't anticipate. But it is different living it, The challenges were great. Our tribe, I thought, worked really well together. We had one blip, where we didn't get it. And other than that, we were always in the money.
Do you have any favorite challenge moments?
Well, our favorite challenge moment has to be the one that we won for sure, which was the fire making challenge. It was so funny because, and we hope this got caught on video because, everybody contributed, of course, but Heather and Beth and I were working on making a torch so we could, and other tribes copied us, by the way. So we made our own torch so we could light the fire, and MT was, at the pot, and I had already put some of the small stuff in, and Heather had, and there was some of the big stuff in there, and it looked fine. And so we were like ready to go back to it, and he said, "I'm not ready," and Heather right on said, "Yes, you are." Boom, and there it was, and it was the right decision because there was enough stuff in there. And so we're kind of hoping that got caught on the live stream, and we're suggesting that for a title for the episode, like "I'm not ready, yes you are." So. And yeah, that was such a high. I was one of the pullers, and we found out that as one of the other teams didn't seem to understand that it really was possible if you put a lot of torque on the line that it really could get up higher. So to win that one was a big thrill for sure. Yeah, and the other one was the water in the bucket. We came in second in that just by an inch, but we worked really well together in that one.
Communication for both of those challenges.
Absolutely, yeah.
And fire making was my favorite challenge too.
Yeah.
That's classic Survivor.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. Well, I love hearing that you had a great time. I just noticed your tattoo is that a Rubik's Cube?
It is, and I'm happy to tell you about it. I've told a lot of people about it this weekend, and it's a sad story, so I have to tell you, but I have it for a reason. I have 5 children, and my youngest son is, well, he was born on his oldest brother's 17th birthday, so he was our surprise baby. And when he was about 9 or 10, he asked me for a Rubik's Cube because the teacher had shown him one in school or something. So I got him one. And the next month he said, let's go to a competition. I didn't know what he was talking about. If you don't know about it, speed cubing is a big thing, worldspeedcubingassociation.org. And so we started going to competitions around the country. In 2011, he was 9th among U.S. competitors. His record was 6 seconds, and his specialty was one-handed, 14 seconds. And so that was a big part of our life. I mean, the sound of the clicks of the Rubik's Cube was like the soundtrack of our home. And when he got a little older, like about 16, he decided girls like guitar better than cube, which was really not right because the girls love the cube too. But anyway, unfortunately, he became an addict. And on May 25th, 2020, which is the same day that George Floyd was killed, he was visiting a friend in Las Vegas, and he got some bad stuff on the street. So we lost him. And so I didn't know the name George Floyd or that the whole world had exploded for like 2 weeks because my world had exploded, yeah. So we lost him, and so I got this in his memory. His stone has a cube on it. My oldest son's an architect, and he drew this and also designed his stone. But we decided from the beginning, even in his obituary, that we weren't going to be shy about what it was. We want people to understand about the dangers of addiction and certainly the evil of people lacing things. He never used opioids, but he got opioids that day, and in enough concentration that it took him. And we could have pursued something, but being in the career that I'm in and knowing about what this legal system is like and the pain of going through that process, we decided not to pursue anything. We didn't know who did it, but it might have been something that could have been found out. But anyway.
Wow, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Rubik's Cube connects with my Survivor Challenge experience. Our alliance was called the Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, so. I remember that. There was one of the episodes that was called that.
So now I have that connection with you and with my experience. So
I should this won't mean anything to anybody, but I should call out my first 4. We called ourselves the Golden Horseshoe Alliance, and that's actually a reference to West Virginia, but I won't explain that further. But just to say, shout out to the Golden Horseshoe.
From this game.
Yeah, from this game. Yeah.
The Golden Horseshoe. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get you your food, and so you go check out the challenge.
Okay, great.
And I have your votes.
Oh.
You can burn them, keep them, whatever you want to do with them. Here you go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll grab that from you.